Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's so loud. What's that?
You want me to bring it down?
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just was, when we were doing the mindfulness trainings, I was really trying to speak loudly to get it across the space. But I would also like to invite us to sing a couple more songs, certain songs. One is The Mind Can Go in 1,000 Directions. It's usually thought of as a walking meditation song, because the second part of it is with each step I make. Right? But let's just sing that song, those of you who know this song. And there are a couple different ways that people sing the beginning of it, and I don't know which one's the correct way. I just go with whatever everybody else does, but since I'm starting it, if I do it differently than you, then just do it whatever way. It's the way the melody goes. When does it go down, is the question. The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this lovely path I walk in peace. With each step a gentle wind blows. With each step a flower blooms. The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this lovely path I walk in peace. With each step a gentle wind blows. With each step a flower blooms. So, this is a song that has some very pleasant messages in it. Like, while I walk, a flower blooms, right? Gentle wind is blowing, and the sense of settling down and the enjoyment of the practice. But for me, this song actually hinges in a different place. It's a song of empowerment. It's the but, right? My mind can go in 1,000 directions, but. Right? So we all know the experience of the mind going in 10,000 directions, right? But, right? But there's a confrontation, a face-to-face meeting there with your habit energy of running, of being dispersed, of being busy. My mind can go all over the place, but on this lovely path, I walk in peace. You feel that? Take it in. Bring it in. And I walk in peace. I'm not going to follow this agitation, this chaos that can erupt from within me. I'm not going to just go out with it. I'm going to rein it in. I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to settle it down. And as I walk in peace, flowers bloom and the wind is gentle. The realm of the mind is mine, I can... Wait, how's that go? The realm of the mind is mine, I can choose where I want to be. Both heaven and hell I know equally well, the choice is up to me. The realm of the mind is mine, I can choose where I want to be. Both heaven and hell I know equally well, the choice is up to me. Same song. right? I know I have this choice. It's up to me. It's up to me. So these are songs that for me are about taking my power, claiming it, the power that I have, which is my action. The action in my mind, the action in my heart and body, and to send myself on that path in a direction, the direction that I would like to go. Right? The direction based on my deeper or deepest, perhaps, understanding. In Buddhism, in fact, we are always operating on our understanding. It's what stands under us. It's what is under us, what we stand upon. Remember that joke about the shoes? Yeah, the wide sandals. That was fun. The view, the understanding we have is the basis for our thoughts. It's the basis for our words. It's the basis for the actions of the body. And there's, I think in each of us, there are aspects of our understanding which are beautiful and uplifting, which are heavenly. And then in our understandings, there are also places where we are lacking, where we have misperceptions and might take us in a different direction. So we are coming into awareness of what that ground is in us and deciding, I'm going to move in this direction. This is effort. This is diligence. This is the energy we give to the path. So when we were doing sitting earlier, I don't know if any of you up here heard it, there was some little critter right over here. I tried to peek afterwards and see if I could see them, but I didn't see them. But they were being very industrious. I couldn't imagine how fast their little, whatever, fingers or hands, I don't know, it was a mouse or a mole or a vole or something. It sounded like it was going so fast. It was just one little critter under the leaves in here. It sounded like they were pulling roots or grasses or something like that. This is that season for them, right? They have to be very industrious. They have to apply themselves, or else, yeah, the cold is coming. And I went for a walk to go to the bathroom and saw this incredible oak leaf. It's a little dim in here out of the light, but it's just bright, bright red. And reminded me of this time that we're in right now, in this part of the world, this hemisphere of the world, where the sun is retreating, if you will. I mean, there's that kind of an experience at least. The planet's turning, right? But we have the experience that there's less and less sun in our days, which means less and less warmth, less and less. Anybody notice that last night? less warmth, less light. We're moving into and towards the cooler, the cold season, the darker season. And the natural world is going to sleep. And this is what the trees around here look like when they're going to sleep. They're so beautiful. They're taking a good rest. Sometimes we think of bright colors, like in the case of the flower, as a kind of a blossoming, but the leaves, when they turn, it's actually the opposite. It's the other side of that cycle. Their energy is waning, it's retreating. And the life energy of the trees is going down into the trunk and into the roots. It's withdrawing, and in a way, this is like the beauty of aging, right? The crinkly skin, the dryness, the colors, the blotches. I grabbed one of a few of the leaves that were there that was mostly intact, but most of them were already eaten and falling apart. And right. So the energy of the natural world around us is settling down. It's going into the soil. The little creatures are giving their best effort to protect themselves and build their homes. That effort that they give to protect, to stay warm, to be able to nourish and themselves so that they can have that rest through the winter season. And as that is happening all around us, we too can feel that energy of letting go very easily. I love this season. This is my favorite part of the turning of the year, because it's so easy to, with an out-breath, just let things fall away, because the energy around us is doing that, right? Settling in and letting everything that's been busy and growing just fall away, right? Settle down. So we can be in touch with that and supported by that energy of letting go, of releasing. We do it in the sense of releasing in our mind. The things, the projects, the obligations, the relationships that are stressing us out. Stress is tension. So the opposite of that pulling of the tension is the let go. It's the soften, release. We do it in our minds, and we can invite our bodies to do the same. And in the heart space especially, where we have become protective, where we have become defensive, we practice to unwind, to soften, to become tender and open and connected again. When we are in a state of tension and we have this fight and flight response, when we are engaged in that defensive posture, all levels of our being cut off from relationship. It's very important to be aware that when we are wanting to be connected, we're wanting to be a part of the world. And then in those moments where we feel stressed, where we feel afraid, we actually stop the connection. We put up a barrier, and it happens on a physiological level as well as on the inner life, right? On all the levels of our being, there's a barrier put in place. Our brain actually stops, prevents us from having the sense of connection, because it's more important for us to survive. It's the signal that's the energy. Survive, cut off, protect yourself. Right? So when that energy is active in us, it's important to remember it. Then we are not connected. Right? And so in order to connect, we have to soften that. We have to open. We have to find a way to release some of that tension and that guard, that posturing, that stance, that fear. And there are many aspects of it. One is the out-breath, but the other is bringing the attention and the awareness that we want to be on a path of love. We want to be on the path. We want to be healing. We want to be connected. These deeper motivations in us, we want to wake them up, like the songs that we sing about. It's like, wait, yes, this is the direction I want to go. And there's some effort. There's some doing that needs done, right? It's like, we have to bring ourselves to it. And this is interesting because it's a different gesture than the letting go. It's the lifting up. And this is a mirror of the outer world going to sleep. In our spiritual life, we lift ourselves up within it. This is the archetype of the Michaelmas festival in the old Christian traditions, right? It's actually kind of a cool thing. I don't know if you know this. Do you guys know the Michaelmas festival? It's the festival where Saint Michael comes and subdues the dragon. Okay, so and that's the fun, glorious child's version of the festival. You can see this in the reflection of the season, though. This is the releasing and the letting go of all of our flourishing and all of our outpouring of ourselves, we're going to come home. We're going to take that energy of fire in us and we're going to cool it down a little bit. We release it and we lift ourselves up to meet it. We need that courage. We need that effort to be there. Let go of the striving, but yet we don't fall asleep. We lift ourselves up in that. In the cosmic picture, in August, the planet moves through a space, our planet moves through a space where there's a lot of matter floating around, little tiny asteroids. And we get the Perseid meteor shower. So quite literally, this is like pieces of iron ore that come into the atmosphere and like shooting stars, they fly down towards the surface of the earth. They are grounded, right? And this is the image of the sword of Michael, right? In this, it's this. So imagine yourself a sky, and a meteor falls straight down through the middle of you, right to the earth. This is the way I feel, and this is how I picture this. This is what Michaelmas means to me. What that will light up inside me, and the energy that that will have, right? That's this awakening in my inner life that is happening while I'm letting go of stress and worry and tension. I feel it in my body as well as on other levels of me, right? It's like you just touch the back of your neck there, you know? You like come aware of that space, and then open yourself. You're a sky, and then let that meteor fall through you with that out breath. And you do not fall asleep. Bright and awake and alert and clear. So interesting that that's the experience for me in my spiritual practice when I'm in the autumn, when everything is going to sleep, when everything is resting. So it's a turning inward, but it's a turning inward in a different way. It's not a turning inward like turning into the pillow. It's a turning inward to this space and the enlivening that takes place there. This meeting of awareness and intention. I intend, I want to go in this direction. I do not want to be burnt up in my desires. I don't want to be burnt up in my anger. Right? I'm going to subdue that dragon. I'm going to meet it. And here I forge my sword. Say, you got me going, Matthew. Yeah. And so I'm bright, awake, alert, alive inside. That's a very real experience for me. And this has to do with this turning, saying, I know that I can be distracted, I can be burnt up, but I'm going to go here. But on this path I walk in peace. I have this choice, heaven and hell, right? Whatever realm that would be, I'm going to be here. It's one of the things I like about that song. It doesn't say I choose heaven. It just says there's a choice. Both heaven and hell I know equally well. The choice is up to me. Is it binary? One or the other? Maybe not. Right? And we talked about this already. What that right view is. That embrace of both the suffering and the well-being. So I'd like to give you an image of the practice. I want to draw it on the board. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? I have to do it in the middle. I'm going to bring it over here. There's a little more room over here. We'll do it like this, taller. I have to get into my artistic self here. This is something that Tai would share often many years ago in his retreats, and about understanding the different dimensions of our practice and what we are taking refuge in, what we're deciding to do. So on the one hand, there's aspects of our practice called shamatha on one wing, and on the other, vipassana. These are the English way of writing some Sanskrit. And shamatha basically means the nourishment of present moment. The nourishment of the present moment. So everything that we're doing in our practice, which is about coming home to ourselves, to the present, to life here and now. When we practice deep relaxation, when we release stress, when we listen to the sound of the bell, there's so many aspects of our practice which are about shamatha. Shamatha literally means stop. Stop. So in the sense, it's referring to stopping of the habit energy. Just the running mindlessly, the doing that's just happening by itself, right? Now there's a lot of doing that we want to happen by itself, like our heart, the circulation of the blood throughout our body, things like that. Our digestive system, we don't want to have to worry about that stuff. But and there's also social constructs which are very helpful that just kind of work by themselves, and you don't necessarily want to stop them, like the understandings behind traffic signals. You kind of just would like that to work, that everybody knows that red means don't go and the green means go and the yellow means caution and those sorts of things. So in our lives there's a lot that a lot of places where habit energies can be very supportive. But there are also a lot of places where habit energies cause us a lot of suffering, and this is referring to the training that we do in order to meet that habit energy, which is just running and we don't know why. And it's causing us suffering or causing someone else suffering. And it's the way we think about ourselves or the way we think about the world or the way that we respond when someone triggers something in us, right? And it just pops up and flies out. So shamatha is about stopping the mind, stopping the mouth, stopping the actions of the body that are just going, and coming into awareness of life in the moment and seeing what we find. So if we do that well, we naturally start to learn about ourselves. Our understanding grows, and this is vipassana. Vipassana is the nourishment of understanding, and in particular, in terms of our practice, we're going to call it the nourishment of interbeing. Because there's a particular kind of understanding which arises from our practice. It's that awareness of how what we're experiencing in our lives is not separate from what's going on in another person's life. the awareness of how when I come home to the moment and I'm breathing in and out in my shamatha practice, I'm aware that the air that I'm breathing comes to me from trees and algae and the atmosphere of this planet cultivated by countless billions and trillions of living organisms over many, many centuries. And all of that is a part of what I am breathing in and out, which is becoming the very blood and energy in my body, right? So we practice shamatha conscious breathing deeply enough, and we start to understand what breathing really is on a different level with the nourishment of interbeing. Tai would say this is looking deeply, because he wanted us to be active in it, not passive. To look deeply at something is an action, it's an activity. It's not just saying, I have an understanding, I have a good idea. It's the act of discovering that idea, of growing that understanding. Yeah. Two arms of the bird of practice, of meditation. Shamatha, vipassana, and then a tail. So I once gave this talk a long time ago in Montana to the Sangha, and someone being a little bit, they have a game out there that they played during the retreats with me. They like to ask questions where they just call the stump the chump kind of moments. So they put questions in the bell that are like ridiculously silly or really hard, and they try a few of the guys in the Sangha out there, and they want to have fun. But that spirit carried over, and someone writing to me saying, you know that a bird can't fly with two wings; it needs a tail. And I realized that I thought about that for a while. Actually, I thought a lot about it. And I thought, why is it that image, yes, it made sense to me, it should have a tail, but what is the tail? And I realized that the transmission of our Dharma practice has come predominantly to us through monastic traditions. I mean, there have been lay practitioners for thousands of years too that have done many wonderful things, right? But predominantly, the tradition of the Dharma has been handed down in monasteries. And when you're in a monastery, everything in your life is set up for you to practice. You don't ever ask the question, what direction am I going? You already decided that when you walked into the monastery. It's done. So there's no there's no concern there. Everything that you do, everything your sisters and brothers do, everything that's going on around you is all about the practice. It's all about shamatha and vipassana. Done deal. So it's all there. So you don't really have to worry about that. And I was like, wow, it's actually my experience of leaving the monastery taught me that there's something else that is really important to me. And that is this determination that I'm talking about, this effort that I have to build into my life, that I have to grow in my life, that I have to connect with other people about and make real, right? Because we don't have that 24/7 support. And most of us are consciously immersing ourselves in places where there's really a lack of support because we want to be that support, right? So our environment is not helping us with shamatha and vipassana. Our environment is actually pulling us away from that. And so how important it is that we embody the practice in ourselves and with each other, that we make it real. And so I realized when I was thinking about this, it is in the monastic tradition. The tail of the bird is there. It's just not talked about in the same way. It's not emphasized in the same way because you're a river of drops of water who are all committed to go in the same direction. So you just carry each other along. But there's kind of a different river for all of us in the lay world, and we're the stones, like trying to not be rolled downstream by that river, right? So it's, for me, I'm gonna, and I had to go back to my English Sanskrit stuff to find this. I call this Shila Karma, and there's a little redundancy in that, but Shila is the word for precept or mindfulness training, right? What we just recited. And karma is the word for action. It's for the doing, the making real. And I like to add something to that flavor, right? It's so important for us to do the work and to band together to do the work. But I would call this, it's getting a little bit low, it's impacting my handwriting. The nourishment of giving. And the reason why I use the word giving for action is because I want to remember something. I want to remember that I am a part of the world. And that the world is within me, vipassana. I want to remember that because in a deep truth, in a deep way of looking, every single moment of our lives, we are actually shaping the world that we live in. Most of us don't feel that way. We feel like the world is out there, and sometimes it's going crazy, and we're so different from what's happening out there. And we watched the Dharma talk of Tai yesterday morning, which talked a lot about that, and how the mind of discrimination, separation can be so powerful. But also how powerful and how close it is for us to touch our interbeing nature and the wisdom of non-discrimination. How close that is. And I want to remember that. I am a part of what is being manifested here. Every moment, the way that I hold myself in my thinking, right? This effort I give to keep myself in touch with my practice, my understanding and my love. Every moment I do that, I'm actually shaping the world. I am giving something to the world. Yeah, the world is giving to me too. So the giving means that also, right? I'm receiving the gift of whatever is around me from the world, right? But I am actually co-manifesting, co-creating with all of us, right? And every one of us is in that position where we are actually shaping the world with how we hold our thinking. We're shaping the world with whether our words bring about happiness or suffering. We're shaping the world by the choices we make of what we consume and what we don't consume, how we get together with one another, what we celebrate, what we struggle against. We are making the world. We're making it what it will be. So the Shila Karma is for me, and this is about practice. This is taking refuge in the practice here. Shamatha, Vipassana, and Shila Karma is this, what direction am I going? What am I doing, right? To manifest stopping and understanding. To manifest Shamatha and Vipassana. And that is the, we just read about it in the mindfulness trainings. They are an example of what we might do and how we might move through the world. Yeah. I'd like to do a little meditation with you that brings together these energies of the letting go, but also the lifting up in clarity. So here's a little preface. I love it. Whenever you say, I'd like to do meditation, everybody starts getting their bodies ready. A little preface is this. There's an expression which pops up in a few places in the teachings of Buddhism. In one version of the teachings on conscious breathing, you see it as gladdening the mind. Or in another version, making the mind happy and at peace. Right? Breathing in, I gladden my mind. Breathing out, I gladden my mind. Breathing in, I make my mind happy and at peace. Breathing out, I make my mind happy and at peace. Now, when I first heard these things, I thought I kind of got it, right? But I didn't know that I really understood what was going on with those teachings. But you hear in the, I make my mind happy and at peace. So I was somebody, and I'd encountered people who don't like to be told what to do, but also who don't want to be, who want to be authentic, who want to be genuine. And so if they're feeling sad, they don't want to have to smile. I see some nods happening. Let me honor my sadness. If I'm feeling angry, then I should be able to express my anger. I want to honor my anger, right? I'm feeling something intense, right? And that I want to be authentic in that. And then you hear a teaching like this, which says, I want you to come back to your breathing and make your mind happy and at peace. So, you see, it's like a little bit of a bumping into each other, energies there. And when I was first learning about these things, I was also completely enamored with them. So it was a little bit like, oh. So my tendency at that time would be like, okay, just ignore the fact that I had a reaction to that and go along with it, because I know I need to learn. I'm in a learning space. I'm a novice monk. I need to learn. So let me just go along with this and see what happens. But it stays there, that bit. So if you go back to what I was sharing a little bit earlier about the gesture of the season and how we can, it's not just in the autumn, but anytime you want, how you can like sort of invite yourself to relax and let go of things that are worrisome and stressful. It's not, there's no lack of authenticity there. I know that I'm stressed. And I know that stress and tension, I know that sadness and anger, they hurt. I don't like those experiences. And so I'm inviting myself to relax a little bit. I'm staying in touch with the way that I feel and the experience that's there, but I'm softening around it. Maybe I'll find out what's underneath it, what really needs care, right? If I let those hard edges soften, if I let things fall away. So I'm really present. It's not a denial, it's not a pushing away, and it's not a stuffing down and ignoring that there's that experience. It's actually a full acceptance of this is where I'm at. And this out-breath, there's something else here too, which is my mindfulness, and maybe that can help me relax. So it's completely authentic, it's very genuine kind of experience. And when those things are falling away, that energy of lifting myself up is to like, what it means is I don't want to go in the direction of escalating my sadness, of escalating my anger, of escalating that. I know where that brings me. I get deeper into suffering if I follow that. So I'm going to wrap myself around it, but I'm going to take the whole thing with me and go in a new direction, right? And this is, to me, that energy of what is meant by making my mind happy and at peace. Okay, gladdening the mind I like better because it's more general, but it's basically a shift towards a wholesome direction in my way of thinking, and in through that in how I feel. A shift in what I'm doing in my daily life, perhaps, that has been bringing me so much stress and worry. I'm going to change that direction, right? So that could be seen as gladdening my body, right? Gladdening my mind, gladdening my body. I'm going to change that direction. Okay, so we're going to do these two energies of letting go and having clear intention at the same time. We'll start with one and then move to the other. You ready? Okay, let's listen to the sound of the bell, and then I'll do this like a guided meditation. This is based in the sensory experience of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. While I am breathing in and out, I'm aware that I am breathing in and out. And I begin to bring my awareness to my eyes, the organ of my eyes. And I fill my eyes with awareness. Breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I relax my eyes. Any tension in and around my eyes, all that looking and striving energy that gets tense and tight around the eyes, I let it go. Eyes relaxing. And now I shift my awareness to the sides of my head where my ears are. Maybe I have to do my left ear once and then my right ear to focus my awareness on one side and then the other. But aware of my ears, the outer ear and the inner ear, bringing my mindfulness to that part of my body and inviting a relaxation, a lessening of tension, a letting go in and around my ears. Aware of my ears, relaxing my ears. Now bringing my awareness forwards into the front of my head and my face, aware of my nose and my mouth, aware of my nose, my left nostril and my right nostril, and the arch of the nasal cavity reaching up and back, connecting to my throat, aware of my mouth, my jaw, my tongue, my lips and teeth, and gums. And this whole space of my nose and my mouth, I invite relaxation, ease, letting go of any tension that's there. Aware of nose and tongue, relaxing my nose and my tongue. Now I take my awareness from the space of my head and this beautiful, this wonderful signal of presence and relaxation, I send it down through my neck to all the parts of my body, and especially out my arms, and all the way to my hands and fingers. Aware of my hands and fingers, releasing tension in and around my hands and fingers. And I send that signal down through my belly and back and hips and legs all the way down to my feet too, inviting the tissues on the soles of my feet to become soft and porous and relaxed. Right out through my toes, aware of my feet, relaxing my feet. Now, having brought relaxation to my eyes, to my ears, to my nose, to my tongue, and to my whole body. With my next breaths, I draw myself inwards into my heart space. And I invite my heart to become open, to feel, to experience being okay and safe right here, right now, and into the space of my heart, open and feeling, I bring these thoughts of well-being and love. May I be happy. And in my heart space, I feel what that means, to be the one wishing and to be the one receiving. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be free of afflictions. May I be well. May I be happy. Feeling what that means. May I be safe. May I be free of afflictions. May I be well. And as we end this meditation, breathing in and out, holding that experience of the mind and the heart and the body come together in a beautiful, caring, loving way. We'll listen to the bell. Thank you for doing that meditation with me. To me, this is an example of a way in which I can practice in my meditation. I can rehearse in my meditation, gladdening the mind. With clarity and intention, turning my mind in a direction I would like to go. It's not necessarily a direction which is easy. Many of us have difficulty turning caring thoughts towards ourselves. We can do it topically, but we don't really let it in. Many of us resist that. It's much easier to give our care and love to others. So this kind of a moment of that kind of practice is like, I'm going to turn towards a beautiful work which needs to be done, right? I'm going to cultivate a capacity for self-compassion. And it's not just offering it to myself, but being able to receive it too. Being able to really let it in. I have no doubt that if you really wanted to, you could take a friend or a family member in your hands or in your arms and offer them such an incredible presence and love and listening and care, expression of love, that they would feel so good. They would feel so recognized, so understood, so healed by your presence. This is just a different object, ourselves, right? To be able to really take that time and be present in that way with ourselves, and to know truly what it's like to give and to receive this kind of love. Gladdening the mind is turning ourselves wholeheartedly in the direction of the path of practice, the path of well-being, which is what the path of practice is, right? The path to well-being is the Eightfold Path. Right? I'm going to turn this upside down. This bird is flying in a different direction, because I want the open space. We just did a meditation on 5 different sense organs. In Buddhism, there are 6. And the 6th one is the experience of the heart-mind space. So in our practice, we often talk about watering seeds of joy, watering seeds of happiness, or embracing a seed of suffering, transforming the seed of anger, and so on, this kind of language. And that language comes from this understanding. That the experience of our bodily senses here, and our heart and mind, this is kind of like, this is our daily life experience, all of this. Rests upon another kind of consciousness. There's the consciousness we have of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and in our heart and our mind. And it all rests upon something called alaya. Alaya means store. And this is like a soil, like the ground that contains all the possibilities of anything in our life. Wholesome possibilities, unwholesome possibilities, neutral, mixed up, all kinds of possibilities. Some of them very simple, and some of them beyond beyond our comprehension in their complexity, right? But everything that manifests in the world manifests from the possibility, the limitless possibility of alaya consciousness, of store consciousness. So, for example, we talk about it as being full of seeds. A seed is a potential, a potentiality. And this is like an earth of seeds. And so when we're talking about watering a seed of joy, it's about using the experience of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, heart, mind to water the seed of joy in store consciousness. And when it gets watered, it wakes up as if it were a plant, a flower, into our experience here in the day. So the seed of joy manifests in our heart and mind when we have the right conditions that water it, right? And when it grows strong in this space, it's just like a plant. It's also sending that life energy down into the roots and back down into alaya consciousness. So we are constantly in the work of cultivating a certain kind of a garden in our experiences. And we are striving not to be cultivating the garden of difficulty and pain and conflict and disparity, but we're striving in our practice. Flip this over, using shamatha and vipassana and shila karma, right? We're striving to create a beautiful experience in our life, and to water wholesome seeds and to transform unwholesome seeds. And we do that in our own experience, and we do it in a relational experience, the collective experience also. So Tai talked about this as, he called this the practice of selective seed watering. And selective seed watering, I don't have something to erase this with, but selective seed watering means precisely these simple things. And he had 3 areas. I just want to remind us, because this is part of what I wanted to do with this whole Dharma talk, remind us of these structures of practice that we can take refuge in, and we bring ourselves to. This is where our effort goes. And he had 3 things that he said were essentially the basics of selective seed watering practice. And the first is to nourish awakening, to strengthen our wholesome seeds. And this is to nourish our awakening. Again, that reminder that there are certain seeds, certain qualities, certain energies in our life that we could nourish that may seem nice, but they might not be helping us in the path of our awakening, the path of our well-being, right? And so that's distinguishing. It would be aware of what you call wholesome. Like, ask a question: is this really helping me? Is this really a quality I want to develop to continue to grow on the path of well-being or in my awakening, right? To nourish wholesome seeds. So the second piece is to protect your awakening. And I'm going to put here protect and refrain. And this is the practices that we do, or the choices that we make to protect the seed of joy or happiness by not doing something, right? To protect our seed of mindfulness by not doing something. Like deciding not to have the phone even available during the retreat, right? Like, that is to protect a capacity that you want to develop in yourself. It's something you want to wake up in yourself, to be free of that attachment and to experience that freedom in space. It might be helpful to literally to put it over there, right? And I'm going to choose not to even engage at all. Why? Because I'm nourishing my capacity for awakening. So we actively cultivate wholesome seeds, but we refrain from cultivating the unwholesome seeds. And the third dimension of selective seed watering practice is to put our wisdom into action, to do, to manifest, to make real in our lives, to transform. This kind of transformation is not a goal. It's not like I want to get to the place where I don't have this negative experience anymore. Right? This kind of transformation is, in this moment, I am going to do the thing. Right? My peace is my way. It's not that I'm going to get there sometime. My happiness is my way. I'm going to do it right now. So, for example, we all weekend, many of us have spent some time holding with tenderness and clarity painful experiences that we're having in our lives now, right? And that kind of an embrace is putting wisdom into action. You know that you are mindful, you know that you have love and care, you know that you suffer, and you know that you can bring these two energies together in order to have a different experience than just suffering. Now I am holding suffering. And suffering begins to change. Suffering begins to become something new. It becomes a possibility rather than an affliction. It becomes a possibility of transformation, or it becomes a renewed experience, a new perception, a new something. But in this moment, we manifest it by doing it, by putting it into action. I'm going to become a peaceful, loving embrace of suffering. And that's a transformation from the moment before when I was just in agony, right? So it's in that moment you realize the action. We put our understanding into action. Do the work of transformation. It's actually very simple models of practice, right? Isn't it? But what happens when we are doing this work of selective seed watering? You see, whether or not you're a practitioner, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, heart, and mind are watering countless seeds in Alaya consciousness. Every moment we are helping to create the world, and the world is creating us, right? That's happening anyway. So this Shila Karma, nourishment of giving, like putting something, like becoming part of, participating in the process of manifesting the world in this moment, right? It's the work that we're doing. So, in effect, what we're actually doing is we're reshaping Alaya consciousness with our daily life practice. Alaya consciousness runs largely on habit energy. It's just doing what it always does, right? But by being consciously involved in the cultivation, we're bringing consciousness to that doing what it already just naturally does. So we're reshaping it. An example of this may be like a wound or a suffering that we carried for many years, and we always react to the world based on that suffering. When I was a young man, I was very aware that my relationship with my father wasn't so easy, and in my teenage years, and that a lot of fear I had in that relationship was actually making choices for me. So even down to the level of how I would dress, definitely who I would feel safe with and not safe with, who I would hang out with, where I would go, what I would do, everything on all levels. That fear was actually deciding for me what the shape of my life looked like. Right. And when I learned the practice, I actively took up this part of my experience in my life, even though I wasn't around my father anymore. But I actively, those seeds from that relationship were very much a part of what was manifesting in my life, right? They'd get watered all the time, and then I would act accordingly out of those kinds of fears, out of those kinds of sufferings. So when I learned the practice, I started to learn a different way to relate to those experiences. So I'm reshaping, I'm sculpting, I'm painting, I'm reshaping what Alaya consciousness is going to look like, right? And what's going to manifest going forward. So I added understanding and compassion and tender embrace and a whole lot of beautiful perspective about learning about my father and where he came from and all the sufferings that he had, and the kind of spaciousness and forgiveness and connection that evolved through that work actually manifests here as new seeds. I do not experience the same thing I did in the past because of the work that I did through the practice to embrace and transform. Because of the way that I nourished wholesome seeds in my consciousness, I refrained from engaging in unwholesome seed watering, and I actively put into work, into practice, understanding through the eyes of interbeing and so many beautiful loving kindness kinds of meditations, right? To really reshape that. So we're reprogramming, reshaping the seeds that are in Alaya consciousness. And we do it for ourselves, as I said before, but we're also doing it together. And we can actively cultivate a beautiful garden in our own heart and mind and body space, but we can also actively cultivate it in relationship with another person, or as a sangha, between a group of people, right? As a community, as a family. We could go very far. Yeah. I have a lot of hope in me. I don't feel overwhelmed by despair. And I can sometimes feel the intensity of suffering and despair in the world. If I open myself to the places where people are really feeling that. But I don't need to do that. I have a different path. My path is here, in these activities, and I want to engage there. And if I'm feeling overwhelmed by a situation, that's likely because, right, my eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body are taking in certain information, which is watering a seed of too much of this or too much of that. Who decides that? I don't want my news feeds and reels on Instagram to decide those sorts of things for me. I want to be the one to say, here I am in this right relationship with myself and with life. I have this deep confidence that has grown over decades now of practicing with human beings in all sorts of sanghas, communities, relationships. But it's a deep confidence in how beautiful people can actually be and how wonderful they actually can be. And not just people, but you know that we are in, like the Dharma talk yesterday had in it, you know, human beings need to get over this idea that they're just people. We're also animals, we're also plants, we're also minerals. We need to get past this little perspective of ourselves. When we start to really explore those things, it lights up this incredible possibility. And I witness in myself and in the world places and moments and experiences, and I really feel, I have confidence in this capacity that store consciousness can manifest miracles, can manifest the most amazing things. Deep, deep healing. And if it can happen for one, two, or a few, or maybe many, right? I don't feel limited by the predictions and the assumptions made by minds that are not looking deeply in this way, that are not looking at the world with eyes of interbeing, that are not really exploring these deeper dimensions of our reality. My confidence comes from there. It comes from the spiritual dimension of who we are. Aurora welcomed us this morning, and she welcomed all our ancestors along with us, which was pretty cool. The hall was very full, right? That's where my confidence comes from. That's where my hope comes from. But I don't really feel like it's hope. Hope is a funny word to use, because I know you need hope if you have despair. But I don't have despair, so I don't really feel like I need much hope. I have happiness. I have happiness in being together with people and being on the planet and doing beautiful things together. And I've been doing that for a while now, and it's really rich. And yeah, we stumble, and yeah, We make mistakes. We water the wrong seeds sometimes. And that's, yeah, the effect of that is, it's what it is. But we always can return again and again to the moment and renew and reawaken our understanding and our presence. Yeah. I have a big confidence in our shared heart. The joy and the love that we can generate together. Thank you for being a retreat community this weekend, everybody. Been very nourished by all of your practices.